Yo, what's up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our video editor, and the topic for today is trying to get it to seek to arbitrary video locations. So pitch for the whole project. We stream around here. We produce 2-hour videos once per day. Maybe I want the flexibility to stream a little longer, but when I upload these videos to YouTube, I feel like 2 hours is the limit. I also feel like there's a chance that a cut down version of this is like a better version of the content for YouTube, but I don't really know how well it cuts down, blah, blah, blah. So I want to try experimenting with trying to produce shortened versions of the streams. And when I tried opening KDN Live and doing it by hand, it was awful. I think that it would take like 4 hours to cut down a 2-hour video at least, and that seems awful. So if the point of me streaming myself coding is to motivate myself to code, it doesn't make sense for me to be spending way more time on like the video part because I care way less about that. I care way more about the actual coding. That's the part that I find fun. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we make a tool to make our lives easier, maybe it will be easier. If it's easier, you know? And so I'm kind of thinking if we were to generate subtitles for our video and put them into our video editor as a script. So here's like a little ASCII rendering of the video editor. So this is, on the left is like the stream. So you can see like, here's me in the bottom right corner, here's my to-do, and here is code on the left. Here's the video timeline, and here's the script. And I'm imagining that the script kind of acts like a timeline. So you can kind of like scrub through the script and then also maybe like create clips based off of what's in the script. And when I say clips, I mean like multiple clips together will combine into one big video, but which parts of the video stay are marked by clips is kind of what I'm thinking. We'll see how it goes. And so where we're at right now is we have this thing and I can hit play and we have like this little progress bar on the bottom, but when I click it, it doesn't move. Oops, I think I forgot to say why I think this is important. So I think I can read way faster than I can scrub through video. And so that's why I think that this is a novel idea that will help me get through it. We'll see if it actually works, but that's the plan. Okay, so plan for today is try to make it so that when I click on this bar, something happens. Which I think should be pretty easy. I think it's probably just like, hey, ffmpeg, when you decode this video for me, could you please give me, I would like to jump to this section. I'm sure that ffmpeg has that API. We need to add some sort of way for the GUI to request a specific position from us. And depending on if it's easy or hard, I don't really know what that's going to be like. If it's easy, then we can maybe start looking at clipping UI. So once we can jump to different areas of the video, then it should be a pretty straightforward leap to saying, okay, let's play back several sections of the video in sequence, and we can start looking at what that would feel like. Yeah, I think there's not much else to say. Let's just jump in. First thing to do, I think, is it'll be easiest to test if we have some way to do what we want. So the way that the app is laid out right now, just for those of you who have not been around, we have Zig app, where Zig has been chosen as the language of choice because I feel like it. There's not really much rationale there, just I'm having fun writing Zig. So in here, we do like all of the main app stuff. We do like ffmpeg interaction. We do like audio output. And like, I guess that's kind of all the app does right now. ffmpeg audio output. And then we have GUI over here. And we were like, we have like some like specific requirements for our GUI that I don't really want to get into. But because of those requirements, we ended up picking Rust and eGUI. Which means that we kind of have this like barrier between these things where for GUI state to get, like for the app to flag GUI state, we need to go through this like CFFI. And for the GUI to request app changes, he also needs to go through the CFFI. So we have this like GUI.h where we basically have all of the things that cross the boundary. And so right now, here's everything. We have like this like GUI object, and it works like any normal object. You have functions that you can call on it. And one of these things that we can do is we have like these like get actions. So we have this like bunch of actions that can be queued up by the GUI, and then the main app will pull the GUI for things that it needs to do. And so what we should do here is we just should have like an action seek. But what's kind of fucky here is that we can't really seek, we don't know where we're going to seek to. So I think probably what happens here is we convert from like our enum GUI action to a struct GUI action, who is going to have like a tag that is going to be like a GUI action tag. And then we're going to have like data. Not data, union GUI action data. I guess maybe we don't even have to name this thing. We might be able to do something like union and then just write this like this in this language. I think C lets you do this. So then we can say that like, depending on the type, we'll set different sets of data. So I think I don't remember how you do this. I think you say void none to say we don't care about that one. But then maybe we have like float seek position. And then if the GUI tag is seek, then we know that we're allowed to look at seek position. Otherwise, we would look at none. Or we just would look at nothing. I guess, really, it's only seek position right now. Which kind of means that, like, just inlining it like this is fine. I suspect that in the future there will be other things to put in here. But maybe for now, we will just do this, and we'll tackle the, like, union shit when we get there. Right? Imagine that we have, like, another thing that's, like, float set clip start or something. Then all of a sudden we want to like bundle those together. But for now, we can just shove the seek position here and we'll tackle that as it comes. This becomes GUI action tag. And this becomes struct GUI action here instead of enum GUI action. I think everything else is happy. On the Rust side, we don't have any like type checking here on like the person who emits those things. I think you have an anonymous union, so the same thing as inlining it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So this guy has to make sure that he's returning the right thing. Because there's no like type checking that the header matches the output. But it looks like the C bindings GUI action stays as it is. And he's angry because we're trying to return enums, but we should be returning like this action. So I guess here we have to say the non-action is now a GUI action that has some data associated with it, which is tag is this. GUI action, this is going to say GUI action tag now. And the data, or seek position, is just like, I don't know, 0.0. Who cares? Doesn't matter. And if we have close, we're going to do the same thing, but we're just going to put the seek position, we're going to replace this none with close, chillin'. And then somewhere else we were using these where to flag pause somewhere. We like check the state of the, like we look for like a button press. Here we go. I wonder if it makes sense to like maybe like define constants for these so that we don't have to like copy paste it everywhere. You could maybe do something like pause action is a GUI action. Equals GUI C bindings GUI action. That feels kind of nicer. Maybe, we'll see. GUI action tag toggle pause and the seek position is 0.0. And then we can do the same for I think, is that the only one? I guess we can look for the non-action as well. And maybe we put this in like a mod, GUI actions. And then we could put some functions in here when we get to the seek one. And so this is just going to be none. We don't have to postfix these actions anymore. We need to use the C bindings now. So we have to say like use crate C bindings star. Okay. Which I guess kind of makes it seem like we can do this. Which is kind of nicer. I'm okay with just like blindly like importing the whole fucking C namespace. Why not? Why not? There we go. That feels kind of nice. So now down here, we'll just go pause, GUI actions pause. Yes, that feels nice. Feels nice, man. This is none. Except this wasn't supposed to be pause. What was it before? It was none and close. None and close, which means we need a close action, which is just this. Which is just this. All right. This brace goes away, this stuff gets entered back here. And let's just do a semicolon. This probably has to be pub, to be honest, to get access from their parent. Did you say it only takes 4 hours with existing tools? Did you say it takes... Oh, whoa, sorry, you didn't say only. Did you say it takes 4 hours with existing tools? I mean, I didn't actually try. I tried to like cut down just like the first like 5 minutes, and I was like, I like saw it was like taking like 2 or 3x the amount of time. I was just like, and I was like kind of thinking like, well, if I got better, maybe it would take longer. I don't know. Maybe I just suck. And that's very possible. But it is what it is. And in typical programming fashion, instead of improving, we just, sorry, brain melting a little bit. Instead of improving, we just write software to fix our problems. It's the way it always goes. GUI actions pause. I guess calling this toggle pause is a little bit better of a name. Okay. Okay, is everyone happy there? I don't edit videos, it was just clarifying the explanation you gave. Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. Let's see. What's going on here? Oh, because they're switching on the action, but now we have to switch on the tag. And then everything else should just work as is, I think. Invalid. Oh, we can't log the action here. We have to log the action tag. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So now we should be able to... I think we had the action, GUI action seek. I wish Zig was smart enough. Well, like, I wish I didn't have to put this else clause in here. But, like, from Zig's perspective, this is not an enum. It's like a U32 or something. If I remember correctly. Like, if I take the else out, it doesn't compile. So I wish that wasn't the case so that I wouldn't have to remember to put all of the different cases in here. But it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so here we're just going to say seek to this place requested, which I think is reasonable. And maybe we will, I guess, log the spot. So it's action.seek position, I think is what we called it. I don't remember. I don't know why it's not auto-completing. It's a little annoying. And then we just keep going. Nothing else to do there, so let's see what we get. That compiles. Actually, nothing's going to happen yet because we don't ever do anything there. So somewhere on seek, when we drag that bar from here, we should be able to say, like, let response is equal to this. And if response changed, we should be able to say that we want to request a movement to that position. So we should be able to say, self action tx send, and maybe what we do here, hear me out, is we create a function here. So we can say pub function seek. He takes in a position and returns a GUI action, and then we don't have to like inline everything there. And then we can just say GUI action this, boom, 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 close turns into seek, and seek position turns into pause. Expected bang. Expected bang. Pub function seek. Oh, I forgot to put the return here. Bit of a stupid question since I've never heard of Zig, but how does it integrate with your Rust code? Okay, Zig is a programming language that's kind of like, I would call it like C or Go-like. Like it's pretty low level. They don't have like C++ style, like they don't have like classes, they don't have destructors, but they do have all of the pieces that you need to like get something that's like pretty close, but with like heavy focus on language simplicity is how I feel when I use it. It like compiles to something that would like remind you of C. You have to do like manual memory allocation. And so with all that in mind, one of the things that they have prioritized is like C interop. So calling a C library from Zig is very easy. And calling a C library from Rust is also reasonably easy. Not super easy. You have to do a bunch of type conversion and stuff, but it's not too bad. And so both languages basically talk to each other as if the other language is C, because both languages support being called from C, because C is the, people call it the lingua franca, which is like, I think French for saying common language of programming languages, which is also kind of funny because C doesn't have like a binary ABI that's like stable and defined. You're just kind of like, no, you just kind of know that like, oh, if my system is compiled, or if my code is compiled with GNU C compiler, then that means that when I call this function, I have to put this stuff on the stack and this stuff in registers. But if I'm being compiled with the Microsoft compiler, then I have to put this stuff in those registers and this stuff on the stack. Like, it's a mess. It's a mess, but it is what it is. Stabby, thanks for the prime. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. He doesn't like the semicolon here. But then here we should be able to say, GUI actions seek. Boom. And all we have to do is ask to seek with the state current position. And then we just type unwrap here because I'm a lazy piece of shit. And maybe that's it. Well, the ABI of Rust is even less defined. That's fair. And I kind of get why, like, as if I were to write a language, I like the idea of not defining the ABI, to be honest. It allows you to, like, make decisions and, like, back them out later if you don't like them. Okay, so if I go here, seek to 380... So this looks like it's working. I don't understand why they're all integer multiples. I guess maybe the slider is only working in integer multiples. API meaning ready to use functions. Okay, yeah, I need to pronunciate a little harder. API is like what you call in like source code. A BI is like what the machine sends to execute that function. So if you were to go like, okay, let's see, enum. If you were to call like int main, let's not say main. Let's say like void some func that takes in like an int x and an int y. This turns into like, this means something, right? It means that like you have parameters x and y and they have to get into the function somehow. And so when you call this function from somewhere, like what you can kind of expect is, depending on the ABI, B, not P, you might expect like push 1 to the stack, push 2 to the stack, jumps to some func. Or you might expect like put 1 in RDI, put 2 in RSI, where these are like registers, and then you jump to some function. It totally like depends on like what you've decided the most efficient thing to do is. And like what you do here is going to depend on like the size of these things. So if these are like floats, then like you can't put it in like your integer register, you have to put it in your float register. If it's like really big, right, like some like stood or like array of like 100 elements, this is probably going to like be like, okay, well, we'll put a pointer to that thing on the stack when we call, or maybe we'll put the pointer in a register. If you have lots of arguments, you'll like run out of registers. So like there's all sorts of stuff to like consider, and there's just like rules that you have to follow in this case. Yeah, something like that. ABI application boundary interface. I always thought it was binary, but it could be boundary. I wouldn't really, I've never looked it up. Okay, so I think, what do we want to do here? I wanted to check if we can adjust the slider to say that it can jump to like non-second intervals. So let's look at eGUI. And then let's look at, what am I looking for? I already forgot. Slider. I wanted to see if we can ask the slider to put out any level of like precision. Precision? Precision sounds right. I think that's right. Set an exact number of decimals to display. No, I don't really care about that. I want to know like step by here. This is probably sets the minimal change of the value. Value 0.0 effectively disables a feature. I like that. Step by 0.0. Oops. Oopsies. It still feels like super number here. Let's log what we're putting out as well, just to make sure. Well, also let's Yeah, so his current position is a F32, so that should be fine. Let's maybe put like 0.1 here just to see. It did say default 0.0. Oh, disabled. No, I don't really understand what's happening here. Okay. I guess we could look at the code. We could look at the code. So this will set self-step. Value is equal to this over that round. Round? I don't want it to round. Wonder how cursive would be to define all C structs in Zig and have a compiler translate to C. I don't know if there's... I haven't seen any, like, automatic bindings generator. It seems like the Zig interop with C is so good that it's like, why would you bother? I guess, like, if you want to define the functions in auto... Yeah, okay, no, that actually makes sense, because you could have, like, some mismatch that would be a problem. Can I not round? Max decimals. Max decimals. And then, so it looks like what I want here is I want to set max decimals to something and then disable self-step. Where self.step has to be set to none. So if step is 0, 0, it will be none. So we have to set it to 0, 0 and then set max decimals to like 3 or something. And no comma here, I'm confused. Let's try that. Hearing Zig, seeing Rust and Godot all together seems like a fever dream. We write software sometimes, and sometimes we get interested in other stuff. So we end up in this shit show. What is Godot doing there? Godot's on the right. It's because this was before I had like tried to write like a game engine. I'm not gonna say what I wrote was a game engine, but like the stream start screen was like all raw OpenGL, and so this was before I had tried that. So this is just in Godot. Why? Like, what is this doing? Oh, god damn it. God damn it. It feels like I'm ooming, to be honest. Yeah, I am like, oh no, swap is completely unused. We have a lot of stuff cached. I wonder like what the fuck it's doing. Do you have a fact for questions like how to learn X and Y? No, but every time somebody asks that, I just say try it. Still seeking to only whole numbers. It could be like a logging issue too. Let's make sure that what we print, what we set here is what we think it is. Let's make sure. So we'll log what we're asking for and what we get. Yeah, it is consistent. It is consistent. Round. Values will also be rounded to this number of decimals. We should also have a max precision. Values will also be rounded to this number of decimals. Normally, you don't need to pick precision, as the slider will intelligently pick a precision for you. I don't want you to. Regardless of precision, the slider will use smart aim. No, I don't want that. To help these select nice round values, I don't want nice round values. Normally, you don't need to pick... Okay, there's fixed and max. Maybe I want... Oh, min decimals. Ah, so I want to set fixed here, maybe. 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 Still no? What if I set like 100 or like 5? Maybe he's saying decimals as like the number of digits. Still no. This is fucked. So set value comes from value, where new value is if self-smart. Oh, if self-smart name. Can I turn that shit off? Looks like probably. Looks like probably. Man, I will say it a million times. I fucking love open source, man. Like, just the fact that, like, because I'm used to, I came from a world where I would get these, like, these firmware devices. Oh, that's so much better. Thank God. Where I would get like these these hardware modules from companies, and I would try to implement like drivers for them and stuff, and they would just give you like this spec sheet, and it would say like this is what it's supposed to do, and it just wouldn't do that, right? And so it's like the spec sheets were usually like really like sparse as well, and so you have to like reverse engineer behavior. But goddamn, it's so nice to just be able to be like, I know like a library is not the same as a piece of hardware, but it's very similar, right? And it's just like the idea of being able to be like, I want to know what it does. You just go look. It's just, oh, it's beautiful. Like, oh, it's so nice. Because like this just solves the problem of like having to like write good docs. And it's like, I'm sure the eGUI docs are fine. I actually just didn't even read them that time because I'm a fucking. In fact, we actually see that this is just on the screen, right in the docs where we were looking. But it's just not how I like to get. It's not how I like to find what I'm looking for, and it's just so nice to be able to do it this way. Can I like if I don't set fixed decimals now, what happens? Okay, cool. Looks fine. So I think we can kind of say this is done. And it is time to actually do something with that information. Working with the closed source API right now sucks. Yeah, it just blows. It blows. Developed an Obsidian plugin recently. It wasn't, at least even minimize.js, it isn't too awful to reverse engineer. Oh, minified.js is pretty shit. It feels like you're like not that far from like compiled code, because it's like you have like if statements, but it's like looking at like disassembly really that much better than looking at just like the garbage that you get out of that. I'm not really sure. Okay, what was I doing? I was trying to go to main zig, and now when we seek, we have to do something with it, which means that our decoder has to expose some sort of like seeking interface, I guess. So probably we just shove some public function on here. Pub function seek, who will seek to some position. Yeah. And we'll do nothing, because then it just means that the next frame that we get out will be at that position. And now we have to look up what that comes from. So if we look at our main loop here, we have this like read next frame, and he asks for a packet from the format context, and then if I remember correctly, he dispatches that packet to like the appropriate decoder. So probably this packet that we get must be in a different location, which means that the seek probably happens at the format context level, not the like decoder context level, which makes a lot of sense. That makes sense. So ffmpeg av format context, and surely there's just some sort of like seek API on this thing. Seek. Oh, okay. Read seek, real seek, read seek. Is there like a header for this? Definition. No? Okay, this isn't really what I want. Maybe there's like, we can look at the examples. Maybe that's where we want to start. No, this isn't, ffmpeg examples. There's like demux decode, I think, was the one that we had before. Doc examples, here we go. And then how do I get back up? Examples. Is there anything in here that looks like they have seeking involved? No. Okay, well, maybe we can kind of guess the name by looking for like AV read frame. Let's look for that, and then like what's nearby. AV read frame. So this is in demux.c, and we can just kind of like look for. Oh, here we go. Nice. Seek to timestamp TS. Seek to the keyframe at this timestamp. Okay. This looks okay. Seek file. What is the difference between seek file and seek frame? So seek frame seeks the keyframe at timestamp. So we have to keep in mind that the keyframe that we look at is not the same as the like frame at that position. So if we were to use this, we'd probably have to seek to the keyframe before the timestamp that we got, and then continue decoding frame by frame until we get to the frame we want. Because I'm pretty sure you can't go backwards from the next iframe. You can go backwards with B frames, if I remember correctly. I think it's something like my memory is that you have like your iframes, which is just like full data. And then you have p frames, which are like incremental. So these are kind of like diffs from the previous frame. And so you'll have like a bunch of p frames stacked together. And then, if I remember correctly, there's also b frames, which are like p frames, but they look like back in time, or they look like forward in time instead of back in time, I think. So I think that they can say like, okay, so after this frame here, after this is, I'm going to apply this extra thing on top. Something like that. And these can sometimes be smaller if they're like in some scenarios. Anyways, but I think you can kind of like ignore this for now. And I think that like, if they're saying we can only seek to keyframes, we just have to make sure we go behind and move forward from there. What's that video on the side? It's actually not a video. It's a game that's playing right now. It's being played by the world's shittiest AI. It's not, not AI in the neural network type, but it is like a guy that's deciding to move around the maze based off of some criteria, which is random numbers. And it's just there because, got to keep the engagement up. You don't want to, coding's fucking boring. And so looking at this, maybe we'll keep your stupid little brainworms engaged so that you don't click off. At least it kind of works for me at least. I find when I watch these back, I do look at it. Do you mind me asking what you usually do for work? Right now, nothing, which is pretty sick. Pretty sick. I got tired one day, and then I looked at my bank account and was like, I could take some time off. So we're in our year of fun. But before that, I worked at a company that did like security cameras, and I worked on like the firmware on the cameras. They would like hand you a box, and it has like a board in it, and it says like, they say like, could you please make this run and give us frames over the internet, please? And that was pretty fun. And I worked at this place that we did AI for picking things up. So you would like position some cameras over a box of parts, and you would be like, okay, I want to know where every single part in this box is, so that a robot can pick which, or I guess we would actually do part selection as well. So it was like, given a box full of parts and some images, can we tell the robot to go to like a position in 3D space relative to the robot itself, and pick up this thing so that it knows how it's oriented in its hand, which is also pretty fun. Both of those jobs were super fun. Would do again. Actually, I don't know if I would do cameras again. I actually think security cameras are kind of immoral. Like, I don't like the idea. I kind of get why, like, they're like kind of a necessary evil in some cases. But I don't like it. Oh, so you've been doing CV and control. I didn't do too much like robot control. I did, and I guess like computer vision. Yeah, I guess you could say that's what I was doing. I don't really know what my job was, but it's fun. Okay, what am I doing? I'm trying to use this, like, we were trying to decide if seek frame is what we want, because there's also seek file. And what does this do? Seek will be done so that the point from which all active streams can be presented successfully will be closest to TS and within min and max TS. Okay. Active streams. So does this mean that it will handle p frames? If flags contain AV seek flag byte. Oh wait, what are these? Okay, what are these flags? Direction and seeking mode. What are the seeking mode? Reference by AV format seek file. Okay. And rewind file. So this is AV format seek file, which is built on top of this, which makes me kind of think that it is like a higher level abstraction. Can we look at like just its implementation? So when does he call into AV seek frame? Here. Okay. So he seeks to some frame. And then does he do any like decoding to make sure that we line up after the given p frame? Doesn't really look like it. But here, he's kind of doing something while... Is this in a while loop? No, this is one shot. So here he seeks the frame once. If the timestamp is not equal to min and not equal to max, and we failed, then we just do the same fucking shit again? No. This is something else. So here we have if ret is greater than or is equal, then he inverts the backwards seek and goes again. What is this doing? What the hell? Oh, interesting. So he's doing AV seek frame only if read seek 2 isn't implemented. What is read seek 2? Maybe this is just better. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. Read seek 2. Or 1. What? Yeah, let's see. Where is that? Or 1. If... Yeah, this must just be saying that they always want to do this, right? Right? That must be what they're saying here. So they're they like put this check in. Do you think that they meant to do a bitwise OR? No, because read seek is a function, right? Yeah, this is a function. So this is just like a always true if for some reason. This or 1 I suspect was added at a different time than the rest of this. That's what I would suspect. So we wanted to look at read seek 2. Seek to timestamp. Seeking will be done so that the point from which all active streams can be presented, blah, blah, blah. So this is from ffmpeg format. Which means that we can check, I guess, which input format we're using. So where does the input format come from? From the stream? S is probably stream here. AV format context. Yeah, sure, fuck it. Of course, AV format context S. What? Oh, golden Q, hello, hello. Hello. I saw, okay, yesterday while you were live and I was live, I saw a shout out happen. I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that you were watching? Because then I said some stuff and then you guys weren't here. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense because he's streaming. Do you know what that was? Because I don't know what that was. Okay. I love numbered functions and APIs. I think that it's like totally fine. Because like, I like the idea of keeping backwards compatibility by just making a new version of the function. I think it's like totally reasonable. Okay, so AV format context will have a read seek 2. And so maybe we can try to figure out what the implementation is. I wasn't watching, someone in my chat brought you up. Ah, got it. How's the editor going? It's going all right. Here, we'll show you where we're at. No, we won't show you where we're at because it's broken. Hold on. We just have to go to our seek. We just comment this out. I think we're probably chilling. Yeah, so we have this, you know, he's showing something. We got a little pause play. We got a little seek bar that's asking us to go somewhere. Now we're trying to figure out how to get there. Not bad at all. So we're having fun. Okay, so read seek 2. So I guess we check where this comes from. Someone must assign read seek 2. I want to look at like the implementation of this function. Which kind of like it must get set somewhere. Do we have ffmpeg checked out? Maybe it's time to just check it out. Yeah, I think it's time. It's time. Because grepping is way fucking easier. Way easier. Git clone depth 1. I guess technically we should clone the correct we should clone like which version we're using, but I'm sure it'll be close enough. How far are you planning to go with the editor functionalities? I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm going to dog food it, and if I ever stop using it, I'll just stop implementing stuff. And if I get frustrated, then I'll implement more. It just will be... That's why on GitHub, I wrote, it's an editor for specifically me, because that's what's going to drive everything. Okay, so we wanted to look for, what was it? AV read seek 2. Okay, so it looks like these are implemented by containers. We are looking at MP4, so we're probably in mpeg, but it'd be nice to like know. I wonder if there's like logs for... Oh, we can check what our name is here, and then we can figure out which function we're using from there. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll comment this out, and on initialization, when we construct this guy, we're just going to say, what are you? So this comes from format context I format name, I think is what we just saw. We can say std debug print format is this thing. Yeah, like this. Oops, I don't want to land. I just want to run it. Well, he doesn't like that. Because I have to dereference this, I guess. Okay, format. What a name. What the fuck? Okay, so let's actually go into a different window and go back to ffmpeg, and we can look for mov, comma, mp4, comma. So this comes from mov.c, and so it actually looks like they don't have read seek 2. Interesting. Interesting. This is the same one, right? MP4, M4A, 3GP, 3G2, MJ2. I wonder who's out here making MJ2 files. Like, I've never seen that in my entire life, and I wonder where it comes from. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be using read seek, which means that AV format read, was it? AV format read, no, AV read seek. AV seek? I forgot, fuck me, man. Where is he? Where were we? We were in AV format seek file. And we wanted to look for the definition of this thing, which is going to be int AV format seek file. So we are not in this branch, which means, guys, do you think that this is supposed to be in the codebase right now? That's so funny. Okay, so we're doing this. Okay. So what does AV seek frame do? AV seek frame he also will call read seek 2 if it exists and read seek doesn't, but we're on read seek, so he's going to be blah blah blah. Okay. So it's probably this seek frame internal. And so it looks like the documentation said it goes to keyframes. So let's look at these seek flags. What do those do? Maybe we can just look here actually. AV, oopsies. grep, AV seek flag. This is gonna be an enum. Define. Yeah, here we go. What does this mean? Seeking based off position in bytes. Okay. Seek backward. I don't know. I guess that means that like we need to keep track of if we're ahead or behind where we're trying to get to. Seek to any frame, even non-keyframes. Ooh, okay. I like that. So AV seek frame any looks like maybe what we want if our codec supports it. It's when you're playing backwards. But why would that be any different for seeking? I don't understand. But we'll get there. So we run mov.c, and surely somewhere in here he's going to look for like AV seek flag any. And if the flag is... Okay, this looks promising. It looks like at the very least he's using this. So this is find previous closest index. Nice, okay. And so he looks for... if we're using any or whatever the fuck old is. Oh, he has entries probably. He's got like a table of keyframes. And so he's saying like if something and keyframe. Okay. So it looks like we can just call AV seek frame any flag or call seek with AV seek flag any, and we're probably chilling because you have to approach the keyframe info from the other side, surely. But if you're playing backwards, like, isn't your... I would assume your data is still, like, I, P, P, I, P. And I assume if you're playing backwards, you have to do like, jump to here, then like construct a buffer where you like buffer all frames until the next iframe is how I would do it. Right? You like, so if you're like if you're going from here to here, you would need to actually jump all the way back here and then replay ABC till you get here. So you could either like redo this walk every time, or you could like buffer the frames or something. That's how I would do it. But like I would imagine if you're playing backwards, you would handle that. But for seeking, you would still like, I would imagine that your seek would still be relative to iframe before pframe. So I don't understand where the like backwards seek comes into play, unless the iframes are stored with the intent of being played backwards, which would just be confusing. You're saying you think it's like an indicator that they use for a special case? Yeah, okay, maybe. Okay, so where's this used? Let's just double check the code. I know we don't have to, but okay, well, let's just try calling seek with avseek flag any and just figure it out from there. Or we could look to see if there are avseek docs say something more useful than the than what we saw. So we can look at the seek frame, and the flags are flags to select which direction in seeking mode. But like, where do they? Is there documentation for that anywhere? I guess like maybe not, because it's fucking ffmpeg. But we can dream. So let's just look at if these like come with some docs. It doesn't really look like it. Looks like these are just generated from the code. What does video seeking mean? So like when we click on the timeline, I want to jump to where we clicked on, essentially. Okay. So I guess, yeah, we're probably just going to try with just any and then see what happens. We will see what happens. So function seek. Let's uncomment this bad boy. And we're going to look for CAV seek frame. And we are going to seek on a specific stream index. So do we keep track of like our video stream anywhere, or do we just kind of like hope to God that it lines up? I guess we don't even have to hope. Maybe we just don't need that piece of information. Because I guess we just construct a decoder for each stream, where some of those decoders will be audio, some of them will be video, and we just dispatch accordingly, and when they come out tagged with audio and video, so we don't actually really care. So here we should do something like, we should figure out which video stream we're looking at. Okay. I wonder if we just pass in the stream ID here. And when we call this, we could maybe like look at our cached frame and figure out the stream ID from that. That might be possible. Maybe it keeps extra info after seeking, so playback continue in the backwards direction. That would make a lot of sense. That would make sense. So here we have like an image that we keep up here. Stream ID. Yeah. So we use the stream ID here to keep track of if someone were to give us a video file with multiple streams, we just discard the other one. Like, we just look at the first one and then discard the others. But we have the stream ID here, which means that we can ask for a stream ID in seek. So we're chilling. CVAV seek frame. So we've taken the stream ID here. And I forgot the API, and I don't trust the autocomplete here. So let's just punch it in here. Timestamp is an int 64. So is this in time base units? I see. So we have to look, we have to convert. So externally, our API is using like time in seconds as a float. But here, they are looking for like an int 64 that is like multiplied by some number divided by some other number. So we have some function somewhere to convert from one to the other. And I guess we just want to go backwards. So apply time base converts from time base units to float 32. I wonder if that makes sense, because you could also imagine that apply time base could convert into time base units. So maybe we should like clear up these names a little bit. So we could call this TB to S. Maybe we'll even call this time base to S. We don't have to get too crazy. We can afford to type what, like 9 more characters? Probably even less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6 more characters. We can afford it. Our fingers, they've got like a little bit of wear and tear we have to worry about, but not that much. And then we'll just say, maybe even here we'll write seconds. You know, let's get crazy. And here we'll write seconds to TB. To time base. Here we go. And so this is going to take in val s as a f32 and a time base, and he's just going to do the opposite of this. So it's just going to be... You know what's kind of funny is if you write defer here, it just runs the shit in reverse order. Which my brain just thought maybe we should do that, but fuck no, obviously not. Okay, so we change this divide to multiply and this multiplies to divide, and then we swap the order, and then that should give us what we want. We want to do this in floating point space, and then convert at the end. So we'll say we're outputting to val TB. So this starts as the value in seconds, then we multiply it by the denominator, divide it by the denominator, or multiply it by the denominator, divide by the numerator. Is that right? Must be. Must be. And we'll call this val TB. Boom, boom, boom. I'm actually not convinced about this. Hold on. Hold on. So if we have 1,000 and his time base units are like 1 over 1,000. This goes to 1 second. So if we want to go from 1 second to 1,000, we do have to multiply by denominator, divide by numerator. Okay, yep. Okay, that all lines up. All lines up. So before we had apply time base, and we're going to rename this to, what was it? It was time base 2 seconds. And then here, we can just say const PTS TB is equal to seconds to time base, and we take in the PTS. Boom, boom. Chill in, and we have to, I guess we have to look up the time base. So what is the time base? This must come from, do we have access to this in like the decoder? We must. So self format, CTX, streams, stream ID, time base? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know if this is like guaranteed to be defined, but we'll find out if it's super fucked. AV seek frame, so stream index timestamp flags. So the timestamp is PTS TB, and the flags are C AV seek flag any. And I think that everything else just works. So we're not like buffering frames anywhere we need to clear. We have like an audio frame buffer, but we populate it so quickly that I don't think that we need to worry about clearing it. I don't think. I do not think. So here we can just call decoder seek with the PTS. So the PTS was given to us by action seek position. And the stream ID we just have like hard-coded in here. This must be failable, right? It must be. Yeah, this can return greater than 0 on success. So if this is less than 0, we have to do something. I guess we just return error. Video decoder error. And do we have... Maybe we call it invalid argument, since we don't really know what it is. We can assume that they gave us a timestamp that's not valid, but maybe that's not true. Maybe there's other ways it can fail. But for now, we'll just write invalid arg. And we will say, failed to seek to this position. I think that's fine. Yeah, we'll just write time base here. Or no, PTS here. Seems reasonable to me. We don't put new lines. Why is my fucking Vim not moving? Okay, right back. And let's see what happens. I think everything's like hooked up, so I don't see why it wouldn't work. But I also don't think it will work. So I think most likely it won't work and we'll have to debug it. I'm trying to remember, how does the UI... Yeah, so this is just doing jack shit. Is this even running? Did we run this code? We didn't save main, so that's a pretty good indicator that it's not doing anything. How do you find Zig so far? I'm finding myself really liking it without like strong justification as to why. I think that probably at this point in my life, I probably value simplicity a lot more. And especially working by myself, I probably value it a lot more, right? Like, Rust is, I think, still I would go to Rust. If I were like to start a company and start coding something, I think that like the idea of writing Rust and having like really, really strong APIs that like you can't fucking break, and like you can't write code that falls into like this certain class of errors. I think all of that makes sense when you're working with other people, because now you don't have you don't have in your head like, oh, I know how this thing should be done, and so we follow this pattern, blah blah blah. Right? When you get into like companies, you have like, oh, we have like slight disagreements on what we think is like the right way to do something, and so like things that you can do by convention when you're working by yourself, you can't really get away with as well without like strong coding guidelines. So I think the idea of having APIs that are like unfucking breakable is still very nice. But I will say that like I'm happier writing Zig right now. Like it just feels like I have more flexibility and more freedom, and like don't get bogged down by some of the bullshit. But like the bullshit is nice and necessary, right? So it's like, I don't know. I'm liking it. I'm having fun for sure. I will say that it feels like I wouldn't write C++ unless like I had to. But like, you know, like this feels like way nicer than that for sure. Feels like kind of like an improvement on C as well. Feels good. What's good bitching about? Expected 4 arguments on AVSeek frame, found 3. What did we forget? Oh, we forgot to give it the format context. You can shout yeehaw using Zig and mean it. Hell yeah. And this looks like one of the arguments is a usize, which is probably the stream ID. So here we'll just say intcast for now, because we know that it's coming from somewhere that was fine. PTS, expected type I64, found F32. Oh. Oops. Like this. And did I intcast or did I pointer cast before? I did intcast. Okay, we're chilling. Maybe? No? Expected integer vector found F32. Am I high? Val TB is a F32. Int cast to... Oh. Is I64 not the right type? If I do like C in here. What am I fucking confused about? I64 I'm pretty sure is right. Int from float. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you. Good eye. Okay. I suspect that it did the seek correctly, but is now holding the frame. I suspect that's what's happening. Because in our player state, we say like, hey, should we update this frame? And we only do that if the time for the frame is like the correct amount of time from when we started playing plus this time adjustment. So probably all we have to do is we have to adjust our time adjustment value to match the seek that we did. So we can probably do something like last PTS? No. What do we do here? Player state time adjustment, or just say don't bother checking, go now. Oh, like just say that like your next thing should be like just discard. I think I like adjusting the time adjustment a little more. That feels simpler to me. So we're gonna look at like the seek position minus last PTS probably. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Time adjustment is a U64 because these are not floating point units. It looks like we multiply by 1e9, so this is probably nanoseconds. So this we can do 2 times 1e9 and then int from float. All of this, I guess. We could have got the direction wrong. We'll see. He didn't like that. Integer overflow. Oh. Because this is seeking... Will we seek forwards? Feels like that should be right. But we could have maybe subtracted the wrong direction. Let's see. So this is at frame 6. Should update frame. So whatever the fuck is going on in that line of code. Jesus. Minus time adjustment. Maybe we're supposed to minus equals that. Maybe I should think. You know, that's another thing that we should do sometimes. Yeah, that's obviously not working. Okay. I guess... Okay, so if we are moving forward and we seek backwards, it's almost like our start time needs to go forwards in time, if that makes sense. Right? So if we're start time is like 10. And we are currently here. And we're trying to go back here. No, we want to go forwards. So to go forwards, we have to effectively say that, say we're trying to go forwards by like 20, right? Let's just keep the number simple. That means that we have to like say that we actually started at -10 in order for like the time that was currently here to become here. Because we need to like make it look like we should be 20 seconds ahead or 20 ahead, whatever that unit is. Which means that this like adjustment thing being a U64 might be a problem because the other, if this adjustment's 20, then this adjustment's like -20, right? So this needs to be I64. And this we have to do int cast. Well, what unit is time adjustment in? Let's look at that. Because maybe like if it's in nanoseconds, we might have to like multiply by 1,000 or something. Just to make sure that like we don't overflow. Right? If like nanoseconds is expected to be some amount of bits, maybe we chop off, you know, the most significant one and all of a sudden we don't fit anymore. I'm not really sure. Not sure. It does look like we're working in nanoseconds, which we should flag here. We should flag this here. What is the strongest programming language? I think that's like a, no offense, but like not a valid question. I think everything is good. Like, first of all, I don't really know if I even think they matter, to be honest. I'm not really convinced that I think that. And I think that even if they do matter, like you're just making trade-offs in every language. And so like does like the trade-offs depend on what your goal is? Who'd win in a fight? Like a fist fight? I guess like it depends on the parameters. HTML best programming language. Python is a fucking snake. Python is a fucking snake, and that's a very good point actually. Maybe it was off by a factor. AV time base is macro defined as what, million or 1 with 6 zeros. It's a million. Just representing the number of microseconds in 1 second, I think. I'm pretty sure that our calculation there is correct because we did see a jump that made sense. It's more here that like our tracking of what to do after the jump, I think, is not right. I think. This, like, as this U64 is no longer time-based units, this is like nanosecond units from the system clock. And that wasn't clear earlier. Okay. So I guess we'll just make this an I64. And we'll deal with maybe possible truncation later. I'm not really too worried about that. This we can do int from float. No, int cast. Geez, 9 ads. Yeah, sorry. 3-minute ad break gives us an hour of no pre-rolls, which is a big win. So sometimes you just gotta eat it. I wonder if that just works, to be honest. Nope, obviously not. Time adjustment. So let's do plus equals here again. So wait, let's think about this. When we pause, we add the time as our time adjustment, which means that that's effectively the same as rewinding. I think. Is that right? So if we're like here, we should be continuing to chug along. And then we're saying like, no, we didn't chug along because we were paused. So rewind is essentially what this is. So a plus goes backwards, which means that if we're trying to seek forwards, we should be subtracting. Because seek position minus last PTS is forwards, or we could plus equals last PTS minus seek position, but it doesn't really fucking matter. Now, this guy's not happy because there's like a U64, I64 bullshit. I don't actually know where that's coming from. Probably this. But this is float from int. Oh, but the float from int is after this, so we need to do as I64 like this. And then in cast. Okay, let's break this up. This is fucking stupid. This is so fucking stupid. We'll make more than one line of code, right? Because we have lots of lines to spare. Infinite lines, really. Well, I guess not infinite. Eventually you'll run out, but well, we could spare a lot. So we'll say time since start is equal to this. Now since this. Yeah. And we'll say this is an I64, and then we'll write int cast here. Boom. One problem down. A million more to go. Let's, whatever the fuck I did here. Boom. This becomes time since start minus self-time adjustment ns. Time since start, let's name it ns, just so it's clear to us that we're working in the same units, because units are hard. Now, we'll say that this is the const time since start adjusted. ns. Time since start adjusted. Is this reasonable? Yeah, sure. Is equal to this. And I think that we actually should maybe work in I64s here. So he'll say this is well, maybe we do this. We say const frame PTS ns is equal to, is going to be an I64 equal to frame PTS times 1e9. Then we cast this to a int. Yes, that looks reasonable to me. Then this stuff becomes frame PTS ns is less than time since start adjusted. Feels okay. Feels okay. And then what we'll do is we just won't seek. And we'll make sure that pause and play still works, and then we'll come back to seek in a second. Pause, play. Okay, that's working, so I'll start seeking now. I don't like whatever the fuck just happened there. I think we did seek. Why are we not playing now? all right. Let's get into GV and look at the state. Why is my whole computer fucking lagging? God damn it, man. Okay. That was dank. It very much was dank. I think it loaded every frame sequentially between then and now. It did feel like that, huh? No, I think it doubled the distance, actually. Here, look. So if I click here, it goes there. Oh wait, that worked fine. But there, when I went there, it went and then doubled it. So I think my thought here is that we just fucked up the direction of time adjustment. I think. If we just replace this with a plus, let's see if that works. We will see. Oh, poor little guy. He has to think so hard. His memory is bad, so he has to load from cache something. Yeah, it's like whatever it is, like it ruins my desktop to the point where like even like typing top takes a long time. Yeah, nobody's chunking through CPU. or memory really either. Oh, here we go. The fact that we have a gig swapped is a pretty good indication that it's probably just evicting swap and taking forever. I wonder if that's like a result of us fucking up our code. Okay, so that's not doing shit. Hmm. Let's try this again. The fact that we got one that worked was kind of surprising to me, to be honest. Let's take a little peek skis. Linking. AV seek frame. Oh wait, we're just like here, right? We are just right here. Okay. Yeah, everything here seems okay. Dude. As a Mac user, I envy that you can upgrade your RAM for peanuts. I do feel like I should just like bite the bullet and get like 32 or 64 gigs. If I try to like use my web browser and play Apex at the same time, and it pisses me off like every fucking day. And I should just bite the bullet. But it's just one of those things like, I feel like 16 gigs is so much RAM. And it should be enough. Okay, so there it worked, which is interesting. That kind of worked too. If we go backwards. Okay, so what's going on here? What is going on there? What are all these threads? Holy. Probably most... Okay, so this looks like eGUI. This is async out, probably eGUI. Probably thread 2 is where we are. Yeah, this looks like us. So we are sleeping. Okay, and if we look at P player state. I guess we should probably break at somewhere. We probably want to break at should update frame. So let's do this. We'll put a little breakpoint here. Run with GDB. And then break this, disable breakpoint. And then run. Then we will seek. Okay, let's look at what's going on here. Enable 1, continue. What the fuck is going on here? So try compiling LLVM with under 64 gigs. That's not possible, dude. I actually multiple times tried to compile PyTorch and then would just wait 2 hours while I was swapping, and then my computer would and then it would crash. It was pissed me off so fucking much. Like, I should just get some more RAM. But it's like, it just feels like we use too much, man. We just use too much. We should just chill out a little bit. We shouldn't need that much. It should be fine. I've actually decided that looking at in the debugger doesn't feel like what I want. I probably want to just log it, to be honest. So let's do something like, let's log to where we're trying to seek to and from. So seek to this place requested, and we'll just say from last BTS. I run 128 because I got sick of not having it. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it would just make my life better if I bought more. Like, it'd just be noticeably daily improved. 640K must be enough for everyone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then let's say maybe here we are going to log something like frame PTS in nanoseconds is this. We'll look at our adjustment. And do we want to look at anything else? Maybe the now. Yes, now, which we're going to want time since start. That seems reasonable to me. And we can derive the rest from there. I think that makes sense. So this is a time adjustment, ns, and time since start ns. Okay, let's turn off GDB and just see what happens. Okay. Okay, so that makes sense to me so far. Pause and play. Now, when we seek... Oh, fuck, I meant to fucking end it. Okay, so what happened when we seeked it? This must have been here. So we asked for seek to 60.203575, requested from 8. The fact that 8 is a round number is very suspicious to me. Okay. Then we said that the frame pitch... Oh! This is a clue. This is a clue here. So, when we seek, we're still using the last frame time to look things up. That's a bug. So here we say, hey, I'm going to jump to this position, and then we say, hey, we haven't looked at the last PTS. We're using the last PTS as our, like, indicator. So here we should just read one frame. I think here we just say, hey, let's get a video frame and use that as our last PTS. So I think it's just this. Oh, I guess we need to do this while loop. Blech. Let me think. Or we can just set last PTS here to a value that will force a frame update. Does that make sense? If we say that our last PTS is a long way away, no state changes happen to the player state, so I think we're chilling. So we'll just say that the last PTS was 0. I think that might help. Then here we'll say, should we update the frame? And we'll be like, yeah, it's been a long time. In fact, maybe here we do like negative like 10 or something, like just something like far. So that like even if we're on frame 0, it'll be like, yes, definitely for sure. Definitely update. But that doesn't explain why it's like rapid firing after. The fact that this doubled again kind of indicates that this should be... Okay, let's take out this time adjustment again. So I can see why we would only want to seek to iframes. And this time adjustment doesn't feel right. Or I'm gonna hit plus again just to double check. It's weird that it feels like we like doubled the distance that we asked for. Okay, so this is definitely not right. Minus feels like it makes the most sense. Like when I mathed it out, it felt right. Time adjustment. Okay, let's look at what the fuck happened here. So we picked like a massive time adjustment. So our time since... I guess our time adjustment we should just set it, actually. Does that make sense? So the new time adjustment should be something like Let me think. I think we just set it. We just hard code it. We don't do any minus. We don't do any plus. We just set the fucking value. And we set it to the seek position. Is that it? We just set it to the seek position? Maybe the negative seek position? I could think about it, or we could just run it. Except that compiling takes forever, which makes this a pain in my ass. It feels impossible for me to debug with GDB. Yeah, it's not great. The only reason that I haven't upgraded is because like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I tried like every debugger GUI I could find under like the sun, and okay, that's not it. Let's try it negative, and then I'll keep talking. Hold on. I tried like every debugger under the sun, and it just like they didn't give me access to the GDB under the hood, and I feel like I like used features of GDB that like the debugger GUIs didn't expose, and that pissed me the fuck off. So I just use GDB directly now, even though I'm only using it to like list variables, which could definitely be done better in a UI. It's just like the thought that it doesn't do what I need it to do when I need it to do it pisses me off. That feels like it works. Now there's obviously some bullshit happening there. I'm actually not sure if the seeking is even happening. I guess the fact that it goes backwards kind of indicates that it is, but what is it like rapid firing in that time frame? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's ending up where I click, for sure. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, okay, it's definitely, it's going ahead, actually. Okay, if I see... Okay, let's start again. I think that the time adjustment is still not right. That's my guess. Is that, I'm guessing that the amount that it's scrubbing is related to how long the player's been open for. Swapping, we're swapping. Right? Like, the fact that it's very close at the beginning, and then it gets farther and farther over time, because we also have like a 60-second drift at the end. So I suspect that this is close, but not quite right. So let's just use our brains and think about it. Zig build times are so insane. I don't think that it's the Zig build times. I think it's my disk just fucking me. Like, because sometimes it's like really quick. So I think that there's something else going on. I think it's just like, I very much suspect that it's this. And dude, this pisses me off so fucking much. Like, I don't know what the fuck Linux is doing so that I have 9 gigs of just like useless shit and then a gig of swap of things that it's trying to use. Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Like, evict this shit before you use the swap. And I get like, I'm sure there's something I could do to tune it, but it's just like, what bad default behavior, man. Use our brains, yeah, dude, for real, right? Okay. So, what is the math in should update frame? We need to go back. So we look at the time since the start, and then we adjust it with the adjustment. We subtract the adjustment. And then we say, if the frame that we're looking at is less than the time since the start after the adjustment, then we continue. Then we use the frame. Which kind of means that we have now, which is kind of like time since app started, effectively. Then we have, which this actually turns into time since start NS, I guess. Time since app started. And then we want time, we want to say time since start adjusted should equal the nanoseconds of the frame since of the frame. Yeah. Time since start adjusted. So this is the time. So the time adjustment. This is adjusted. The adjustment has to be now minus time since start ns. No, not time since start ns. Plus seek position, or maybe minus seek position. I actually wanted that code. I don't know why I removed it. Probably because I wanted to go vertical split instead of horizontal, or horizontal instead of vertical. However, I can't remember which way is which. I guess this is a horizontal split, but the windows are split vertically. Okay. So, a fellow timestamp fiddling streamer. Dude, what a specific overlap. Like, surely, like, the number of people who are doing this is, like, a few, ever, and only for a short period of time, ever? Like, it's a funny interaction. Okay. So we have time since start. We just have now minus player state start time. You're using tmx splitting. Here I'm using vim splitting, which looks a lot like tmx splitting. I just have to remember which one. It gets really confusing if you have tmx split and a vim split, because then you have to remember which is which. But this is fine. So this is time since start. Is now since this. Okay. Okay. Then we want it so that time since start minus adjustment equals seek position. This is what we want. So we need to just do the math to say time since start minus seek position is equal to adjustment. Just, do a little swappy. So now we do player state time since blah, blah, blah. So this is in nanoseconds already. So this is just time since start minus this. So we'll say const seek pause ns equal this. Okay. Hopefully we used our brains and it will, reward us for it. But maybe not. This is an i64, I think, if I remember correctly. And this should be also an i64 and incast. All right, let's see. Okay, that feels like it's working. I love that we used our brains. And then it worked. Dude. This is trip. Oh my god. Woo! Okay. Oh my god, holding it is so fucking sick. Because it just plays the same keyframe over and over again, which results in that's kind of cool actually, because now what you're seeing. Oh yeah, your compression is probably fucked. But what you're seeing here is actually the movement between frames applied over and over again. So when you see this guy's the guy in the center, his eyes moving up, that just means that the P frame saw one upwards movement for one frame, and we're just applying it over and over. I mean, I have the Twitch version open. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, it's in 360p on my second monitor and a 300 by 200 window. Oh, dude, that's so sick. This is kind of sick. Not gonna lie, this is kind of fun. Oh, it's boring. Okay. Okay, we're done. Okay. So, pretty clearly, we have to seek to iframes. But, I mean, at the very least, the seeking itself is actually working, it looks like. So let's do seek to iframes only, but then adjust. So let's get rid of some of these print statements, because they're fucking annoying now, and we don't need them. Really, the what we should do is we should turn them into debug logs, because clearly they were valuable now, and if we're debugging this in the future, it might be useful again. But instead of doing that, what if we just delete them and then in the future have to figure them out again? You know? Okay. So let's start by just replacing this with 0 so that we only seek to iframes. We can worry about like more advanced seeking later, but I just want to make sure that like, yeah, this seems fine. Oh, there's a little bit of a problem where we should actually use the PTS of the frame that we get out, actually. Because we're going to ask for some position, but it's not necessarily, it might go ahead or behind from that position, and so we should maybe we should like look at what the next frame is and then figure it out from there. Right, so we can do something like this. I guess we basically do whatever's in this loop. So maybe we do something like update inject next frame. I think that makes sense. Or apply frame update, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. This is failable in some way, and we'll just kind of yank this shit and shove it over here. Womp womp. And then we just need to look at what we need. So we need the GUI, which is a optional pointer to a C GUI, which happens to be void. We need the decoder, which is a pointer to the decoder video decoder. We need the audio player, because as it fetches the next video frame, it just feeds the audio system at the same time, which is kind of like a workaround. Not really great, but good enough. Which I think is a nullable audio dot player, if I remember correctly. And then we need the stream ID, which is a usize. This is expecting audio player, not player. So we'll just audio player here. Oops, I googled sphere for you. It's a genus of hoverflies with extremely large hemispherical male term manila. Is that like male genitalia? The more you know. Yeah, I mean, so once upon a time, I just hit the random article button on Wikipedia and found a word I thought sounded cool, and that's how we ended up here. But, you know, now we're kind of stuck, and I considered changing it when I started streaming, but then I didn't really want to find a name. It seemed like a lot of work. And let's return the new PTS here, I guess. Yeah. And then we don't need to D in anything because I think that the frame is owned by the frame renderer, if I remember correctly. Swap frame, he applies this image and then D in its him later because he's going to be consumed from another thread. Right. That makes sense. All makes sense. What Grovebox thing we're using? It's actually not Grovebox. It's this fucked up state of Sonikai in Alacrity with term GUI colors off, which makes it look a lot like Grovebox, but it's not quite the same as Grovebox. And then on top of that, there's extra syntax highlighting provided by TreeSitter. This shouldn't be float in this language, it's F32. And then here we return new image PTS. We need the frame renderer here as well, actually. Frame renderer is a frame renderer. Boom. Okay. So now all of this stuff, dude, that's a lot of arguments. Let's put a comma here so that when we zig format, it will fix itself. Much nicer. LSP restart because it can't handle that. It's too stupid. He struggles. And then we just call this. So you could call it, where the fuck were we? We call it here in this while loop. So we jump to the colon, put a comma. We put a thing here. This all goes away, and then we could do this again here. And then we have to assign last PTS here. And here. Yeah, seems reasonable so far. Expected type frame renderer found frame renderer shared data. Oh, right, because... Tricky. I call it frame renderer, but it's actually this, which is kind of fucked, but it's fine. Expected F32 found this, so we have to put try here, probably. Yep. And then let's just make sure that we didn't, like, break it so bad that it doesn't work. He's got to unswap everything that's useful for the linker, which is a pain in my ass. Oh. Hold on. Is my stream dead? Are we back? Holy. Looks like we're back. Everything froze there for a second. How bad was it? Dude. 2 gigs from Rust Analyzer. It's fucking annoying. Okay. Maybe what we do is we kill Rust Analyzer. Okay, let's do this. We close Vim, which should shut down Rust Analyzer. Once it's... Oh my fucking god, dude. So, Rust Analyzer should be gone now, but it's not, which is a little concerning. Oh my god. Yeah, why is it still running? PS, aux, grep, nvim? Is nvim still running? Why is it still running? Foreground? FG? Where is it running? Kill all nvim. Oh, it was running over here. Oh, that one's fine. I don't mind that one. Rust Analyzer. Okay, so now it's gone. So somehow this guy ended up running the Rust Analyzer, which is kind of odd, but that's fine. And then let's go into my nvim config, nvim init, and just disable the Rust Analyzer because it's just fucking cranking memory. And that is fucking annoying. All right. Let's see if that improves our lives at all. Because fuck, that's annoying. Now, biggest memory hog is Firefox, which is kind of expected. Oi, oi, oi. Come on, buddy, you can do it. What's it even doing right now, man? Dude, I hate swap. I should just turn it off, but then when I turn it off, it's also fucked. Just... There we go. Okay, thank God. I don't even remember what we were trying to test here anymore. But it looks like it's working. I think there's like a little bit of delay when I release the cursor, but it's fine. We'll live. Okay. So I guess we want frame perfect seeking. So maybe what we should do is, for now, let's start by logging. Let's start by logging exactly like the frame that we asked for and the frame that we got. And then we can try to make sure that that number stays small. So we can say that we stood debug print requested this, got this. And then the requested is player action seek position. And then what we got is last PTS after we run our thing. So we just put this here. I ended up losing a bracket somewhere. What the fuck just happened? Oh, it's this should be formatted like this. There we go. There we go. See, that was so much faster now. Okay, so we need a new line, which I always forget. I thought I typed it in, but I guess we didn't. So it's actually going too far forwards, which is funny. Oh, so I bet you, actually, I bet that's what the seek backward flag is for. Now I think we get it. I think that if we do AV seek backwards, it will go to the frame before, not the iframe after. What was it? AV seek flag backward. Let's see. Let's see. Ah, yes. Okay, it makes so much sense now. So before, we were seeking to position and it was moving forward until it got to the next iframe. Now it's going backwards until it gets to the next iframe, which is much better behavior because it means that the thing we clicked on will be shown, and we also get like immediate feedback here. Where before it was saying like, oh, we need to wait a few seconds to get to where we want to go. It's funny that the queued, when I click, it's queuing up more than one at a time, which is a little bit problematic, to be honest. I don't really know if this is what we did here, by the way. So I'm just gonna say question mark. But now I want to work on only send the request once. Only send seek request once. And so probably like what is the expected behavior here? If I hold, okay, let's see. Okay, let's turn off audio here because it's fucking annoying. And if I hold here, I kind of expect it to go here, paused. Until I release, then I expect it to play. And I expect it to only seek if... Only request a seek if the last seek... If we're not at the same position. And I think, do those two things kind of fix this? Dude, that was crazy. Yeah, I think that fixes it. So we'll say that the default state is, we'll when we click on this thing, maybe we pause and seek. We queue up both actions. Then when we release, we unpause. And then we only execute the seek if the position is different. I think that makes sense to me. Okay, we'll turn sound back on. Because we want to listen to Big Buck Bunny, just not all the time, you know? Sometimes he's a little much, but when we're spamming the button, it's not great. Okay, so let's change this guy. So when he sees a response... So I guess we say here, if... we have no autocompletion because Rust Analyzer's gone. We have to use our heads. No. Response. We have this response object, and surely one of the things we can check is if the mouse is down. Sense. Click. Button slide. What sort of widgets? No. Sense is like. That's not what we want. We want to know like. What does click do? So returns true if this. How does he do that? He says. Clicked by. Okay. Contains pointer. Okay. Dragged. Nice, got a live one. Been getting your vids on my YouTube feed. I'm taking the project. Thanks, man. That's good to hear too that YouTube is pushing me to people. That's sick. That's so sick. It's pretty crazy that just like all I did was just upload videos and the algorithm like found people that want to watch them. That's like really wild, actually. Like that's, I would think that like the safe thing to do from YouTube's perspective is just to show things that people already like. But I guess not, which is pretty crazy. Input.pointer.anytown. I want to know if it's in the box though. So I guess we check if the cursor is in the rectangle that the progress bar enables. So we can check if hovers. This will be false whenever some other widget is being dragged. Hovered is always false for disabled widgets. So we could maybe check if contains pointer and the mouse is down. I think that probably makes sense. And then, I guess it's not actually based off state. I guess because we only have a toggle action, maybe we should have a set pause true action. But I guess maybe we toggle once on mouse down and release on mouse up. So do we have we have clicked which returns true if the widget was clicked this frame by the primary buff. Is there like a release on here? Drag released? Drag stopped. But I don't know if dragged is what we want. I don't know if dragged is like when we're holding the mouse on top of the thing, or if we're like actually physically moving a widget. I think I've seen something about that. None of this feels like what I want. Like clicked by. Like, what does clicked by come from? So if self clicked and the input button clicked. Do it in update, maybe? I don't know what update is, but okay, so it seems like what I actually want is, oh, in update, like here. Yeah, I see. It seems like probably what I want is I just want to know if I want to look at on mouse down, which must be something that the input thing handles, and if it contains pointer. I think that's how we have to do this. So we can look for input state change of pointer down, probably. Pointer state. I guess maybe pointer isn't the same. Oh, here we have clicked. Okay. Primary down. Nice. Okay. Is the primary button held down? So I want to know on primary down. Button down. Is this button currently down? That's not really what I want. I want it to be when the primary down changed. So primary clicked checks button clicked. And button clicked looks for pointer events. Ah, okay. Pointer events looks like what I want. That looks like what I want. Where does this come from? Oh, it's fucking not exposed. Wow, no. No. Oh, pub crate pointer events. No. Surely one of the things it can do though is on mouse down. It has to. I guess like I could just cache the button state, but I don't really want to do that. It just seems like someone knows when it comes down and when it goes up. Is there like a up anywhere? Release anywhere? Key released? Any released? Oh, pointer state. Any released? Ah, okay. Was any pointer button released? Why only any release, though? Is release. Like, come on. Like, just let me check the button I want. Ugh. I guess we can check. Ugh. Oh, wait. Button released. Wait. This is what I want. Was the button given release this frame? This is exactly what I want. Oh, button pressed. Okay. Here we go. So we can say response contains cursor. If response contains cursor and what is this on? This is on input state, so we have to get the input state somehow. UI input, and then we get the input state. And we look for input state, pointer state, button released. Pointer state, button pressed. Right? Was that what it was? Button pressed. And this comes from GUI pointer button primary. Okay. Let's just start here. And just say or print line, mouse down, baby. And we'll do the same thing for button released. And mouse up, baby. Fuck. This is actually wrong, though. Because if we drag off the slider, this won't be right. So I think we do just have to fucking track. I think we just tracked ourselves. I think we just tracked ourselves. That seems easiest. So we'll say a slider. Oh, does the slider have? Was saying you could just check and update. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what you're talking. Like, I'm in the update loop right now, so I don't know. You must mean something, but I just don't know what it is. Does release event contain element? I don't think so, but not sure. Okay, so if we were to, I just want to check if the slider response has something like, am I being dragged? Like, it might actually have that. Was this long touch, secondary click, click by, clicked? Gain focus. Or what's the slider response, actually? Slider or UI add. UI add, this just returns a regular response. Okay, so there's nothing specific to the slider that we can get from here, which is fine. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to do it manually because that seems simple. So we'll just say slider held, drag start and drag stop. I'm not confident. So I remember seeing some like eagerly PRs about like specifically about drag and drop, so I wasn't really sure that those are right. I saw drag. Yeah, I saw it too. I'm not confident that's what I want, and so I'm just gonna do it this way. It's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. So we'll just say if response clicked, we'll just say self slider held is equal to true. Well, let's start by std debug or logging the clicked value. Maybe we're getting it too far ahead of ourselves. Maybe. We want to delete all of this and then move this here. Okay, let's just see what that does. Let's just see what that does. Hello. Dude. It does seem like it's saying false, though. It's hard to see, but I'm pretty sure it's saying false in there. So we'll just say if response clicked, we will set slider held. And then we will send a request to toggle pause state if we are paused. Ugh. Oh, that's awful. But yeah, we want to do like GUI actions, toggle pause here. Then we want to say like if slider held and state dot paused. This should be actually start not paused. Then we try to pause it. Then we say if we are paused and the slider is held and we released, so UI input I pointer. Oh my god. Input. This has an input state, which has a pointer state, which is called pointer, and then we look for button released. We look at eGUI pointer button primary. So if this is released, if we're paused and the slider is held and we release it, then we toggle the pause again. If response clicked is not equal to self slider held, then toggle pause. If response clicked is not equal to slider held, so you're saying that that triggers on mouse down. I think clicked only happens once. I'm not really too worried about it. Not too worried about it. So we say if we were holding the slider and we're paused and we release, then we toggle pause to play. If we click and the slider, we set the slider held and we pause. If we're not paused. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Oh, I guess this will unpause unconditionally on seek, which is maybe not what we want, but I'll come back to that in a second. He doesn't like this unnecessary parentheses. Fine. Good if you're gonna whine about it. If you're gonna whine about it, we'll live. Come on, bud. You can do it. You can do it. It's like my fucking... It's swapping again. That's so annoying. So annoying. You're so good at verbalizing while coding, you must absolutely ace interviews. I mean, that's kind of like the goal, at least. I wasn't, like, this took a lot of practice. When I quit my job, I spent, like, a month just coding and talking. That's pretty clearly not paused. Yeah, that's pretty clearly not doing what we want. Yeah, I spent a lot of time practicing. So the goal was, I was thinking, like, if I stream and the stream goes somewhere, great, then I don't have to go back to work. But if it doesn't go anywhere, then I've got like a bunch of shit on my resume and I'll be really good at talking. So that's also just good. Okay, what's going on here? Let's say print line. Well, there's some print line that's like just fucking spamming us, which is annoying. The audio frame log is spamming us, so falling, I think the log says falling behind. So wherever that is, let's just get that out of the fucking way. And then requested, we'll get this out of the way. And then here I want to see when we are toggling pause and not. So here we're gonna say print line pausing. And here I want to say that we are resuming, unpausing. Helps work out problems too. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So that's just never happening. We're never pausing or unpausing, which makes sense because if we're never pausing, then we'll never try to do the unpause because slider held will always be false. So I guess this is just somehow wrong. Can we look at like the slider implementation? Maybe that makes most sense. No LSP client attached. Fuck me. Fine. Slider.rs maybe? Widgets? W for widgets? Must be. So here they set changed by get value. Do they ever set, like, clicked? If feature access kit painted, blah, blah, blah. They have, like, set value here. Oh, so they have, okay. If position is interact pointer pause. Oh, interesting. So this response comes from somewhere. Slider UI, this comes from response. They allocate a slider space. Ah, okay. So they allocate a rectangle for the slider, but they haven't drawn it yet. Then they populate, this gives us like a response object that probably isn't filled with anything. It might be. What does this do? I guess we don't know yet. So this comes from UI rs allocate response. This returns a response from self-interact, which comes from the context. Oh, so this will give us a bunch of information. I see. So they have like... They have a bunch of info about whether or not like the mouse is doing shit already from this response. Then they go into the slider UI and they update the value of the slider based off of that thing. So at that point, it's already set. I see. And see, they're using interact pointer pause, which kind of seems like we should be looking at interact pointer pause, right? Like that seems like kind of what we want. Because they're kind of saying like, we will set the value at any point where this is true, which is exactly what we're doing. And this came from CTX RS, I think. No, context RS. And interact pointer pause. So is pointer button down on? Interesting. Interesting. They also have like the drag thing, which feels like you guys are kind of right. Like the drag thing we should be looking at. Because they're kind of saying like they have drag interest and a drag ID. Okay. Okay. Response is pointer button down on. That sounds like what I want. Which just seems like something we can get. So maybe we try that. We'll try that. We'll say if response is pointer button down on and self slider held is equal to false. At that point, then we set it to true, and then we say we're pausing, we toggle the pause, and then here we say if slider held and response and not response is pointer down on, then we unpause. That feels good to me. Okay. So that actually looks like it's kind of working. Except I think it's now seeking still over and over and over again. Let's check here. Print line. Because like the fact that the audio is going brrr makes it sound like we're still doing something wrong. So we're going to say seeking here. And if this gets spam, then we have a problem. Yeah, so this response changed is I'd be interested to see how much it's actually changing. Oh, probably because current position changes because the current position comes from the frame position, and the frame position is never going to perfectly line up with where we're holding. Which kind of makes sense. And when we seek, we play one frame. So I guess the fix here, we could look for some like delta and say like, well, if this is like really far from where we are right now, then we'll move. But that's not really what we want to do either, because we kind of want to make sure that it's always valid. Maybe we just don't play the audio when we seek. I'm okay with that. I'm kind of okay with that. So let's look at in main zig, when we apply the seek, we'll just pass in a null audio player, and then it will just discard those frames, and then probably we won't get that like bullshit. Chatters, play nice. I don't think that the ability to find a job is necessarily 100% correlated to your ability as a developer. Okay. It's kind of interesting here that as we slide the thing around, we're actually seeing a bunch of intermediate updates. But at the very least, this is behaving a lot more sane now. I think that we're probably railing CPU when we're holding the button. Probably. Because it's probably just like spam seeking to the same position over and over again. It's actually not as bad as I thought. 50% CPU is better than 100. Yeah, it's not that bad. Not that bad. Okay, so what's the next thing to fix here? I think it's that when we do this, we should preempt previous seek requests. We should only service the latest one. I think. I don't think this is what we did here either. I don't know what the fuck we're doing. But we're at 02, 05, 20. And let's say only service latest seek request. So how do we do that? Right now we're kind of just saying, like, as we seek, we say, hey, UI, or hey, main app, could you apply this seek? And it seems like kind of reasonable that from his perspective, he doesn't really know if the app has done it. I guess he knows that he has multiple queued up. Right, like on the Rust side, we could do it here, where we like basically like rip through the actions that have to be done. And if there are if there are multiple of the same type, then like fuck it. But I think that's not really what I want, to be honest, because this is going to be happening. This is going to be a problem in like any GUI. If we swap with the GUI, I don't want to have to like re-implement this code. It seems reasonable to me that on main zig, maybe what we do is we allocate an array of, well, I guess I was going to say that we can allocate an array for each action type and only take the last of each one, but I guess it depends on the action. So specifically for seeks, we know that we only want to take the latest. So we could do something like latest seek position is a optional floating point number, which is going to be null. Here we don't actually do the seek. We just say seek position is equal to this position here. Then we just go down here and say if seek position is S, seek position, then we do all this over here. And we just replace action seek position with S here. And here. Yeah. And if that all works, then we should discard a bunch of the ones that we didn't want. Oops. It's a hard life sometimes. Integer part of floating point value out of bounds. So what's different? Oh, oops. I'm just an idiot. I just left a multiply by 1e9 in there. Oh, that feels so good. Look at that. That's so much better. Look at that. Oh, that's slick. Oh, it's so snappy. That's actually like so slick. Like I slide around and it says it's paused in the top left. And I hit play. Yeah, that feels good. All right. Yeah, pretty clean. Yeah, okay. Cool. I think that's a good place to call it for the day. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 2 o'clock Pacific time for 2 hours. Right now we're working on this video player, but there's a lot of other stuff that we've done in the past. So if you are new here, you can check out, there's a YouTube link and a GitHub link in the Twitch description, and there's a bunch of stuff in here. So there's like operating system, like 3D graphics engine for stream intro screen, neural network stuff, terminal emulator, file system, Git GUI, QR code decoder, and the video editor. Those are all kind of interesting. So if you want to go check those out, those are there, and the code is available on GitHub. There's a Discord link in the Twitch description as well if you want to get like updates about when I'm going to go live, as well as like sometimes I'll put like a little amendments in there. If you're watching on YouTube, there should be a Twitch link in the YouTube description. You can swing by and say hi. What else? Gotta do the streamer, YouTuber thing, like and subscribe, use your Twitch primes, all of that shit. And, goodbye, YouTube viewers, Twitch viewers. Let's figure out who to raid.